Yep, they were right. I had no audio. Okay, my apologies for that. I guess I had no audio. Of course, this wouldn't be a Smart Scarecrow show without pushing the wrong buttons. But anyway, without further ado, I do want to bring my special guest of honor in. And let's see if I can get this shot in here right. I'm going to transition. There he is, Mr. Hendershot, a.k.a. Smart Scarecrow. How you doing, man? A lot of people thought you were dead.
Nah, just hiding out under the wood pile for a while. But actually, I'm in pretty good shape now. Now to make your video processing difficult, should I bob and weave a bit?
Thanks. Appreciate that.
No. No, nobody ever did that to me.
No. I'm being told now that my video is out of sync. Oh well, you know what, guys? Deal with it. At least the video quality is much better than the one that I did with Robert Murray Smith, right? Yeah.
I'm not hearing any. I'm gonna have to. There, I'm hearing audio echoes. See, I hit a wrong button. What can I say?
Now, what is that? What is that screeching that I hear every now and then?
You're hearing screeching?
Yeah, I hear like a buzz. It could be Skype.
That could be something. Skype, as good as it is far from a perfect product.
Is that a Bluetooth headset you're wearing?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it could also be that.
It's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible. Although usually it's pretty clean.
Mm-hmm.
Is Sterling going to make a guest appearance? I hope not. I don't think so.
He's not invited, so don't worry.
I think Sterling forgot to give Bubba his mandatory carton of smokes, and Sterling's not able to sit down right.
Right. Right. Hopefully he is sharing that 6x9 with Bubba.
I think they're painting it pink on one side, purple on the other.
There you go. All right. Well, listen. I've had quite a bit of a hiatus myself for a while, since mid January. I've been semi-retired. Been spending a lot of time getting my I don't know, getting something out of my system. I put together my ham station. I installed a hot tub at the house. I've been building a linear amplifier and putting up antennas and.
What convinced you to get back into the ham thing? I mean, I know you're a ham radio enthusiast for a long time, but it seemed you had set that aside for. Quite a few years.
I had, I was pretty involved with it maybe 15 to 20 years ago, and I got out of it when we had kids and had a house to take care of and a business to run and all of that. So I ended up just setting it aside and not going back to it. And I've always wanted to get back to it. And slowly
back in the Stone Age. I mean, we're talking. Oh my goodness, probably 35, 40 years ago. I was what was called a technician class ham, and I used to work 2 and 6 meter because all I was interested in was voice and video, and all the telegraphy and all that. That it bored me. I didn't want. I wanted to be able to move. An early form of IP data that we were playing with back in the day, and audio and of course we had a repeater set up out. I live in the Washington metropolitan area. Tyson's Corner is probably not going to mean anything to anybody here, but Tyson's Corners is western quadrant of the Beltway, just outside the Beltway, about 2 miles outside the Beltway. And we had a repeater set up on a 4-post tower that was it was up about had to be up about 200 feet. It was up high enough that we had to have red flashing lights on it and all that good stuff. And I remember one time about the biggest giggle I got while Nixon was still in office. Was I was sitting on the bridge heading to Ocean City, clear on, over in Maryland, headed to the Eastern Shore, and I managed to bounce off that repeater with a walkie-talkie and talk to a guy I knew just outside of Washington, D.C., up in the north section. And, we used to think that was so. Now, keep in mind, this was, before the advent of the smartphone. This was before the advent of the cell phone. There was no such thing as cell phones back then. And I just thought it was so cool that with a walkie-talkie and a little thing that mimicked touch tone commands,
right,
I could quite literally get that repeater tower out in Tyson's Corner to lift a hook, give me dial tone, and I could carry on a phone conversation on my walkie-talkie from anywhere around the D.C. Beltway.
Right.
That was just so cool in 1972.
Yeah, and nowadays, there's hardly anybody on 2 meters anymore, and of course,
really?
And nobody uses an auto patch. Who needs an auto patch?
What happened to 2 meter? Because it was really cool because it was pretty much line of sight. You didn't have to worry about it bleeding off into your neighbor's place. What happened to 2 meter? Nobody likes to play with that anymore. Huh?
Tippy wants to know if you're lighting up a bone.
Am I lighting up a? I don't know what a bone is, but no, that is an American Indian tobacco product. It has a natural leaf wrapper. It is not bleached using dioxins or anything of that sort. I don't want to kid anybody. Inhaling tobacco is not good for you. This is not something I would recommend somebody do. But if you're going to do it, stick with what Mother Nature provides, and try to stay away from those chemical additives and all that crap that they put in the commercial cigarettes.
Yeah.
So no, this is more like a small cigar than it is a cigarette. It's matter of fact, if I don't keep sucking on the darn thing, it goes out.
So
it doesn't have any of the chemicals in it.
So that's the smell that I have to get rid of when you send me a piece of hardware.
You betcha. It's extra stinky,
right?
Yeah, my daughter was here visiting, and on her way out, she stopped by the house to give Mom and Dad a hug before they headed on back home. And she said, she told her mother, you got to tell Dad to quit smoking, because right after he gave me a hug, I had to go home and take a shower before I get on the road and go home. So yeah, hey, life's a bitch.
Yeah.
Well, everybody's got problems.
Yeah. All of my computers are successfully aired out and no longer.
Hey, nothing a little carbon tetrachloride won't fix.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
A little dry cleaning fluid.
In fact, I'm using the i7 that you sent me as my broadcast rig right now, and it's working very, very well. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's a pretty strong little computer. Matter of fact, I think I'm still using one of those around here.
Yeah.
I think most of my stuff, the terrible thing is
the case is a little tight, but that's about it.
Well, that was on purpose. I did that. I wanted a really small, compact case, and then I wanted all the best hardware. So I wanted the absolute best power supply, absolutely best video card, absolutely best this and that. Everything I wanted to put in there was I wanted to put in top quality stuff. And I realized, all that top quality stuff is big.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, that little case just didn't seem like such a smart idea. What the heck? Yeah, I think I deployed 3 computers in that case. But here in my home, I sometimes I think the only thing that holds this 1958 brick box together is the miles and miles of Cat 6 cable. It's the only thing that keeps all the walls in place. Um, I think I've got a total of 14 computers in a house where only 3 people live. Gee, why do you have so many computers?
Wow.
Life's like that. But in any case, it is what it is. I think all my stuff nowadays is LGA 2011 with at least 6 cores in it. I may have one old-fashioned i7 laying around here still. Can't remember. I upgraded all this stuff thinking I was going to get more intense on the video stuff. I thought I was going to do, because I had a couple networks that wanted me to do production for them, and a few that wanted me to be the face man. But to be honest with you,
They wanted
about
you
a
to
year,
be the face man?
well, the talking head. They wanted me to be on, out front, saying,
Really?
"Hi, everybody."
Really?
Yeah. And what can I say? I have such a pretty face.
Wow.
Not really, but no, things started going to hell for me about a year and a half ago, and I just, I put all that stuff on the back burner. Just, it didn't look like it was going to be fun.
Yeah, life happens and it does that to you.
Well, life is what happens when you're busy making plans.
Right. So what are your plans? Where do you go from here? You've been under the radar for quite a while, and people have been they're constantly asking me, "Hey, have you heard from Scarecrow?" And yeah, I hear from him every now and then, but that's about it.
Well, what are my plans for right now are to get the heck out of the Washington D.C. metropolitan area before there's a mushroom cloud.
That's a good idea.
I've lived in this area for about, I don't know, 50, 55, 60 years, and I can't complain. I mean, it's provided a good income. I raised my kids here. I mean, the house I'm living in right now, I have lived in for 35 years, and now that I'm trying to empty it out, I'm going back looking at this stuff saying, why did I buy that piece of crap? Why do I still have it? I remember that. I'm digging through my house trying to get rid of stuff, because I don't want to have to move it. And I found an Akai 7.5-inch reel-to-reel tape recorder.
Wow. That's probably worth money.
The thing weighs about 80 pounds.
It's worth money.
And I've got turntables. I've got,
I still have a turntable.
Analog.
That's coming back.
I keep hearing that, but I'm not into it anymore. But I've got 12-inch trifaxial speakers. I'm looking at all this stuff, saying, "Yeah, I remember when that was cool." And I'm scratching my head, saying, "What am I going to do with all this stuff?" And I have quite literally thrown away at least 5 tons of stuff, and I swear I think I still have about 10 tons of stuff yet to throw away. So reality really smacks you in the side of the head when you've lived in the same place for about 35 years, and all of a sudden it's time to pack up and move. And your excesses of commercialism, your frivolous spending of money, really comes back to haunt you when you are trying to decide, is this thing really important enough to me that I want to pay to move it from here to there? But that is the focus of my entire life right now, is organizing things so that I can lose a whole lot of weight and move from where I have lived for a very long time down to a quieter, more sedate life of retirement in the mountains of Tennessee. I'm moving to a home in the mountains of northeastern Tennessee. I think the nearest nuclear power plant to me is at least 200 miles, and that's the way I want to keep it.
That sounds like a good plan.
See, where's the closest one to you? About 50 miles up the road, isn't it, Zero?
Actually, they're down along the shore. But yeah, they're still a little too close for comfort as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, particularly after Fukushima. I just, I never did particularly like those things. As a matter of fact, I was arrested when I was 15 years old for handcuffing myself to the fence at a nuclear power plant. I mean, I was back in the day. We all think that all this new world order, big government stuff. We all think the current generation thinks this is all new stuff. Well, I got news for you, man. I was being pepper gassed and beaten up by the cops, in 1969. This stuff's been going on forever and a day. When we disgraced Nixon and got him chased out of office, we kind of thought, we won. We got this pleasant little peanut farmer who seems like such a nice guy. you know, Maybe things are going to settle down. We can all breathe a heavy sigh of relief and get on for our, get on with our lives. We all were thinking, gee, am I ever going to have a wife and children and a home and a job? Can I possibly live a normal life like my mommy and daddy did? Do I have to fight this war against, an overreaching fascist government for the rest of my life? And it looked like when we embarrassed Nixon and chased him out of office, gosh darn, we thought, darn, we won. We got this smiling peanut farmer and his beer drinking brother going to run the country now. Maybe this country will actually be run on our behalf instead of the darn Khazarian mafia.
Oh, that's what we always hope. Yeah.
But no, hey, for all those years I was, had my head down, trying to make a living, trying to pay a mortgage, trying to raise my kids, trying to do what was right, trying to be a normal person. They were in the background regrouping. And, man, I tell you what, they've come back meaner and harder and faster than any of us thought they ever would. But, life's like that.
Yeah.
Life's like that.
Huh. So, what what pisses you off today?
Well, looking around and reading the news and such, I mean, what doesn't piss you off? What's big in the news right now is a whole bunch of folks fell out of the air in a hot air balloon. That's big on the news right now. Apparently, 16 people were up in a hot air balloon and fell out of the air in somewhere in Texas. Now, I don't know what happened, and I know hot air balloons do occasionally crash.
Yep.
It's pretty rare. I mean, generally that's a fairly safe way to, if you're going to go have a weekend of fun, going up in a hot air balloon is a lot of fun. I've done it myself a couple times. It's really, really cool. I like it. And although I'm sorry that 16 people lost their lives.
Right. It shouldn't dominate the news.
I'm not sure why that's dominating the news.
Right.
I mean, those people were out having a good time. One of the reasons why having an experience like that, climbing a mountain or going up in a hot air balloon or part of the reason why those things are appealing and why they are exciting, why they tempt people to get out there and do it, is because in the back of your mind there's this little bit of risk. You're taking just a little bit of a risk, and that's part of the exhilaration. That's part of what makes your blood pump. Wow, what a ride! This is great. That's why people get on roller coasters. And you got to admire those people for having the brass to get up there in that balloon and go out for a weekend ride. I mean, I admire them. I think it was a great thing to do. Sorry, this time you rolled snake eyes and the balloon fell out of the air. It happens. You could get hit by a metro bus crossing the street on the way to work tomorrow. So life is dangerous. Sometimes it's good to face the danger. Face it right off. It makes you feel strong when you come out. Surviving. So yeah, those folks fell out of the air in a hot air balloon. But why that would tie up the news feeds for hours and hours and hours? I don't know. I mean, I heard another one. This maybe you've heard this, maybe you haven't, but I've heard that Bernie has a backdoor plan.
Really?
Yeah, you're going to get burned. Well, now that Bernie has technically kind of given a lukewarm endorsement to the Wicked Witch from the South, um, it appears that he's going to cozy up with the Green Party, and he may actually be the one who nominates this. I forget what her name is. The woman who's running for the Green presidency, Stein or Still or something. I can't remember. Jill Stein, I think is her name. And there's a chance that Bernie might actually be Jill Stein's running mate as the VP for the Green Party. And if that happens, Hillary's actually in trouble because Bernie, he may be able to pull 20-30% of those claiming to be Democrats to vote for the Green Party. Now, if that happens, it would be a real coup for the Republicans. I mean, that'd probably clear the path for them. So what they'd have to do is they'd have to go convince Ron Paul to be the running mate for Gary Johnson and the Libertarians to steal a whole bunch of the Republican votes from Trump, so that the anointed one will make it in. Because I'll tell you, the Wicked Witch from the South, the queen of the Dixie Mafia, who works directly under the New York Khazarian Mafia, she is the anointed one. She is going to be your president, whether you like it or not. You can vote for whoever you want, but they have already made their decision.
Yeah.
Are you pissed off yet?
Yeah. Good.
You should be.
Yeah.
you should really be pissed off. It should be. It has been so in your face, this election cycle. This stuff's always gone on. This stuff has always gone on. It's been going on as long as I've been watching it. It's always gone on. But this time out, it has been so in your face. I mean, just, it's like, take the little
let me give you full screen here so you can give it to us in your face.
It's been so in your face. How anybody could not see it at this stage in the game, I have no idea. I mean, either they're blind or they just don't want to see. I mean, it is in your face that you have nothing to say about nothing. Every once in a while they'll throw you a bone. Oh, nice little puppy, here, have a bone. Now go away and leave me alone.
Oh, it's nice to hear a rant from Scarecrow. Wow. All right. Let's see. Where are we? We're at about 25 minutes into the broadcast. I want to see if I've got any questions from the chat room that people might want to ask. Let's see. There goes the presidency for Scarecrow.
I can't be elected anything anyway. I could not be elected dog catcher because, frankly, I don't care about the money. I don't care about the power, and I do what I think is right, not what I'm told. Therefore, by definition, I'm disqualified.
Yep, the beep earlier was.
Besides that, the pornos I did back in the late
those will come back to haunt you. Yeah. Let's see. That beep earlier was the FBI listening to Scarecrow's house. All right.
I'll tell you, there hasn't been a black Suburban in front of my house in months. It's really been kind of cool.
Well, you've been under the radar for a while, so that's good. Yeah. Let's see. Passing laws to get illegals vote now. No ID. Yeah, that should piss you off. Will be doing any off-grid at the new house?
I'm looking at it. The house is in a small community. It's not like I'm getting so far out in the boonies that I'm going to be living on the top of a mountain where my only neighbors are wild turkeys and bears. No, the house is situated in a community about 5-10 minutes out of a small town. It's the town of Jonesboro in northeastern Tennessee. So it's although it's not nearly as urbane as it is around here. Here we have a rush hour that lasts for about 2 or 3 hours. Down there they have a rush minute.
I was going to say about 15 minutes, but yeah.
Yeah, it's and what can I say? The speed of life is much slower there, which is kind of what I'm looking for. But
do the neighbors all have teeth? He doesn't know that yet.
only the ones who are married to their cousins are missing their teeth. Actually, I'm living in a little middle class neighborhood where most of the people are in much the same situation I'm in. Now, as you get out into the country, and in this area, the country is not too far away. Where I live right now, you gotta go about 25, 30 miles out of town to find country. And if you really want to find country people, you got to go about 100 miles away from where I live right now to find them. There, you only got to go about 10 miles, and you find country folk, folk who have never seen a dentist, do not own a cell phone, do not have internet. So it's I live in a little enclave of middle-class homes that is only minutes from real honest-to-God Appalachian country folk who like it that way. And frankly, I admire them to a certain degree.
There's a lot to be said for that.
There is a lot to be said for that. Now, will I go off-grid? Probably, a little bit. I'll probably do supplemental solar. Let's face it, I'm a pussy. I'm used to.
We love our conveniences.
I'm used to my air conditioning. I'm used to heat in the winter. I make passing references to having a little garden, doing a little bit of this, doing a little bit of that. But when it comes right down to it, if I lost my heat and air conditioning, I would be a very sad fellow. Unlike these people just a few miles away from where I'm going to live, who look at it, shrug their shoulders, hey, get another log, Martha, it's 20 degrees below zero out there, grab another log. They don't care. I mean, they've lived through worse. I'm a pussy. If I lose my electricity, I'm going to be, crying like a little girl. I will probably
crying like a little girl. Could sell tickets to that.
Yeah, I'll probably be putting somewhere between 2.5 and 5 kilowatts of solar on the roof.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think I'm going to keep it simple. I'm not going to go, I'm not going to go crazy.
Go with a grid tie system that receives
probably.
Back.
Yeah. I'm looking at it right now. There is an outfit in the town where I'm moving that specializes in that kind of thing. Will I go totally off grid? Hell no. Because there's no way I can put enough solar on the roof to run my air conditioning. And I'll tell you what, without air conditioning, I am very sad.
Yeah. So what are you going to do to stay busy?
I'm going to try and do a lot of fishing. There are some things I have in mind. There are some volunteer positions down there that I'll probably take on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how, probably very few out there realize that for almost 20 years, maybe 10 years after my son had graduated out, I was a Boy Scout dad, and I was kind of one of the go-to dads in the local Boy Scout troop. And there's obviously Boy Scouts that that always need dads who are willing to pitch in and do stuff, because so many of the parents of the kids in Boy Scouts, they're drive-bys. They drive by the meeting, toss the kid out and then run.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're trying to organize a camp out, or you're trying to get something done with the scouts or something, you say, hey, any dads out there can volunteer to do this camp out with us, so that maybe a couple of the regulars can have a weekend off. Well, I've made tough decisions in my life, and I've had to make tough career choices, but I really do admire you dads who take my boy, and then they're out of there. So don't think that I'm going to be doing nothing in my retirement. There are many things that, and frankly, as hard as I'm trying to extract myself from it, um, I still have clients who demand that only I work on their network systems.
You can do that
So you
remotely, though, right?
know, I have for the last 10, 15 years. I've done 75, 80% of my work by remote control. I mean, I've managed very large networks, all the way from Boston all the way down to Atlanta, sitting from this shabby little office in about 80 square feet of my basement, in my basement man cave.
Mm-hmm.
Over the years, I've made a very good living. Did I come into any money? No, I made it the hard way. I earned it. Worked like a dog for 45 years. The last 20 years, I've been doing large scale branch office networking systems for some very large clients who I've got non-disclosure agreements. I can't even tell you who I've worked for. Some of them have 3-letter names that if I told you what I did for them, I'd probably be found like one of Hillary Clinton's lovers in Fort Marcy Park with a bullet in the back of the head. So I've done a lot of I've done a lot of very interesting things over the years, and I'm sure that there are those who will insist that I do a little of this and a little of that from it, even though I'm trying very hard to extract myself from it.
Right. Well, I can certainly appreciate that. Are you going to have any room to set up a lab to do anything?
Room to do it. Room to do it. Probably. It's the interest and the motivation that's lacking. Frankly, as in the alternative energy scheme, I still believe that there are some promising technologies. All the ones that I have any firsthand knowledge of or any practical experience in doing much with appear to be non-starters. If I knew enough about the low energy nuclear reaction technology, if I knew a little bit more about how to deal with that, and if I knew where the starting point was and what some of the goals were, I might want to get involved in some of that. But I don't think I have the technical skill to pull it off. Now I think that's a promising technology. I think that might actually pan out if it's not already.
Right.
There are some other technologies. I mean, I've got at least
call cash.
I've got at least a couple of people who are swearing to me that they've had successful replications of some of Kesha's technology.
No, really?
Yeah. And I keep saying, well, where is it? Where can I go see it? Oh, it's not working this weekend. Okay. That type of thing. Here again, I think there's a lot of these technologies where every once in a while a guy happens to get lucky and have an event that is unexplainable. I mean, frankly, I've had it happen to me. I've had situations where the stars, the moon, whatever, just were aligned perfectly, and something happened that I couldn't explain. I looked at it and I said, wow, that was cool. Let me see if I can do that again. And it don't work.
Right.
Okay. And for all I know, I got to wait for that next, alignment of the stars to come back before it'll happen again. And I think that's, I think a lot of people have had that happen to them as they've been playing with some of these technologies. The only one that seems to be repeatable on a regular basis for a lot of different people seems to be the LENR technology. So I do have some high hope for that. I don't know enough about it to get involved with it personally. So will I be involved in it? Probably not. I may get back into doing a little bit of reporting of other people's progress. I will just have to see whether I do it on a regular basis, whether I post it on YouTube or not. I don't know. We'll just have to see on that. I can tell you that I probably will return to broadcasting. There will probably be some form of barking at the moon at some point in the future.
Really?
I'm being pressured from a number of places to get back into that. And to be honest with you, I don't know why. Because I'm looking around, I see a lot of guys out there who are doing it, a lot of ladies out there who are doing it that are better at it than me. I have a great deal of admiration for a guy named Mike Rivero out
Oh,
of
yeah.
I really like his programming. I mean, he does some really great stuff. And why anybody would think that I could add anything to the mix that's not already out there, I don't know. But there seems to be an awful lot of people who seem to think that my way of presenting it is somehow attractive to some people. Don't know. I can tell you that when I was doing Rents, the audience that I was getting was shocking. I mean, it would blow you away. I mean, when you go from doing YouTube videos or a really hot video might get 2,000 views, and then you come back with the metrics from Rents, and you got 50,000 people turning on to listen to. Holy crap! 50,000 people wanted to hear what I had to say about this stuff, and it's not like what I was saying was any different than what everybody else was saying. It's just apparently people like my delivery. I don't know. Maybe they think I'm pretty. I don't know.
Well,
But,
Rents has got a vehicle already established that
yes.
they were taking a ride on, so
Yeah.
and you just don't really appreciate how big that train is until you get on it and see how fast it goes and how far it goes.
Yeah, it was wild, and I don't know if you heard this, but the guy that I was doing that broadcast with, Charlie McGrath, he died.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Young fella too, and that frankly, there's been a whole procession of events in my life over the last year and a half or so that to be honest with you, have gotten me depressed. I mean, I ended 2014 on a high note. My daughter got married. And basically, I quit broadcasting for a while there because I wanted to spend time with my daughter, my new son-in-law, because they were just getting set up in life, and that was kind of an important thing, and so I had this real happy note, my daughter's getting married, she's married a really nice young fella. He's really was really a good choice. My daughter was smart. She married her dad. I mean, this guy is so much like me, it's frightening. So
and
of course
he's.
Of course, he's going to be a great guy.
Of course.
But in any case, I married off my daughter, and then from out of nowhere, my dad turns up with cancer. My dad dies. I spent most of the early part of 2016 getting used to the 2015, figuring out that my dad was on his way out, and I actually spent the last 3 months my dad was alive. I spent with him, so it was family obligation, had to do it, and then I had pretty much severed my relationship with Sterling. To be honest with you, I closed down the Smart Scarecrow show to extract myself from Sterling. I mean, it was getting to the point where it was becoming annoying. And then that thing with Sterling came up. That blew my mojo, because I knew the guy was a little bit, but I didn't know he was that far gone.
Yeah.
So, that came up, and then Charlie McGrath dies, and then it's just
the whole series.
Yeah. There was this procession of stuff. It's like all of a sudden I'm waiting. I'd always waited through shit, and I just put on higher boots. But it seemed like it was up over my waist. It was coming up. I was in chest high waders, and it was starting to creep into the chest high waders. And So
and now you're going to do fishing and go into those chest high waders again. What's that?
No. My idea of fishing is you find a comfy, shady place on the lakeside, and you toss your line into the water, and you purposely forget to put a worm on the hook, so there's no chance a fish is going to bite it and interrupt your beer drinking.
Okay.
That's my idea of fishing.
There you go. Wow.
on the way home, you stop at the seafood store and bring home some fillets and brag to mom about the big one that got away.
Yeah. Adirondack asks if you've been following Russ Grease and his rodent coil.
No, I haven't. Is he seeing any? Because I looked at rodent coils, 20 years ago, and I never saw anything interesting.
Yeah.
Is Russ seeing any unexplained phenomena? Have his eyes started bleeding or anything like that?
Nothing that he's jumping up and down, hooting and hollering about. No.
Yeah, that was my experience with rodent coils. I've been there, done that, never really saw anything. I mean, I keep hoping I was wrong. I keep hoping I did something wrong, but so far I've not seen anybody show me anything interesting.
Yeah.
Associated with a rodent coil. Hey, you know who's had somewhat of a vindication?
Who's that?
Well, you remember that really foul-mouthed fella from the West Coast, Pukta? Remember him?
David Pukta. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Russians have just published a very interesting paper where they now have a chemical process using a specially bred bacterium that transmutes some radioactive isotopes into gold, and they've published extensively on it.
Really?
And it's a process that, as I read through the publishing papers, it's a process very similar to this process that David Pukta was telling us about way back when, about getting gold from bacterium poop. And he may, even though he invented words to try and explain what he was doing, because he didn't have the
fundamental understanding.
It didn't have the fundamental understanding. Did not have the vocabulary to explain, and he just pulled terminology out of his to explain what he was doing, and which made it very difficult for any of us to really take him seriously. The fact of the matter is, he may have actually stumbled onto something, a chemical process for the extraction of gold. May actually work, may actually be viable, may actually be real. So a lot of these guys we talked to over the years that we get, yeah, right. Some of them might actually have been onto something.
Again, you got to make it work every time.
That's the problem. It has to be repeatable, and the next guy who tries it has to be able to take your instructions and get the same results. If you don't have that, you don't really have anything.
Right.
All you have is an event, an unexplained event.
Interesting. All right. Well, listen, you've been very gracious to joining me this afternoon. I appreciate you joining me. I'm looking for any additional comments in the chat room to see if we have any other questions. And if not, I'm gonna let you go, sir.
All right. Happy to take any questions.
Scanning through the chat here. Purple paint. Let's see. Did Scarecrow ever meet his doppelganger who hijacked that Egyptian jet?
I don't know. I'm not sure which Egyptian jet. I mean, these days, when something like a hijacking or cops getting killed, or whenever any of that, I am so cynical at this point that I just immediately assume it's a government false flag. Until they prove to me otherwise, I just assume that it's all being faked.
Right.
I look at this thing that happened in up near where you are, up Sandy Hook.
Oh yeah.
I look at that, and for the life of me, that looks
I don't think Sandy Hook was faked. I just think it was spun.
I think it was a hoax. I think it was
the whole thing from the beginning.
I think it was an absolute hoax. And this thing had happened in the supposed gay club where all 50 people got shot up. Here again, that one looks like an absolute hoax. Now, apparently, the thing that happened in Dallas, Texas, where the cops got shot, apparently some people really did get their asses shot off in that one. But it doesn't appear that it was any of the so-called protesters, and probably was not even civilian shooters. I have a funny feeling these were Mossad shooters, well positioned, who were very well trained, very skilled. And you got to remember when the Donetsk thing went down, and Crimea split off. That whole thing was apparently Mossad shooters shooting at both sides to stir up the action. So it's not beyond the pale that something like that might not come down, might not be used here.
Right.
We are such suckers. We look at the evening news and we actually believe that what those paid talking heads on CNN, we actually believe what they are saying is for real, and that's where we make our mistake. They're owned. Those guys are owned by the Khazarian mafia and the CIA, and they'll say whatever they're paid to say, whether it's the truth or not.
See, I think he's been listening to George Norrie's show.
Actually, I don't get to catch George Norrie.
So you ask him where he's been.
I listen to him when I can.
We've already done that. Scarecrow has gone total conspiracy. Where have you been?
Look, I am what's called a prevert. I was there before most. I knew that it was all, a bunch of baloney back in 1969 when I was dealing with the Vietnam War, which was the illegal war of my time. It was my generation's Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So there is nothing new under the sun. This has been going on for a very long time. Chances are it was going on long before my time. It's just I can tell you for a fact it's been going on at least since the 1960s because I was there watching it go down.
Sure.
Before that, I can't really attest to, but I have every suspicion that it's been going on a lot earlier than that.
Yeah. Yeah, perhaps centuries.
Am I 65 now? No, I'm 63 years old at this point.
Need to do follow-ups every few months. So, permission to follow up with you every once in a while.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Sure. No problem.
All right. See how many big fish you let get away.
Oh, at least 3 or 4 a week.
Right.
when the weather's good.
All right. Well, listen, Gary Hendershot, thank you so much for being my guest on Zero Labs.
I had fun, Mark.
It's great to see your face again. I joke about you being the face of some other network or whatever, but you pull it off real well. So anyway, thank you, and hope to see you again.
Take
and
care.
if you would stick around in the Skype chat for just a moment, because otherwise
sure.
that'll crash my software if you don't. And that's it. That wraps up this edition of Zero Labs. I want to thank everybody for joining me who came out to watch the show. Everybody who had some questions in chat, and I hope to do it again real soon. I don't know who the next guest will be, but I've had a few things turned my way in my direction in my life, and I hope to be starting at a new job very soon. I'm not ready to make that official announcement just yet, but I am working through the process, and it looks very, very promising. So hopefully, I'll be able to breathe a little bit easier coming up shortly. And once I'm able to do that, they actually get back to some real alternative energy experiments. That's all for now. As always, please rate, share, comment, and subscribe to my videos. And peace, everyone.